Hey guys, your Majesty King Bullet back. This is the third time I debate Happy, and the second time I debate him in this server. We'll be talking about whether the Boruto movie novelization is considered canon or not. This debate was a little bit closer. I think I won this personally because I actually proved all of my points. And also there was things that Happy couldn't answer within this debate. You can watch it and decide who the victor is, it doesn't really matter. But premise wise, I think I've won this. The rhetoric isn't actually that important because that's about who's more persuasive. Surely if you were more persuasive you would win the debate, so that doesn't really make any sense. I think the analogy used by the judge, or what he was trying to get at, if I had to guess, is the fact that I could have beaten him really quickly in this debate. Take a boxer. If a boxer fights in the first round and shocks the other person, is possibly able to take him out in the first round, but then he doesn't and kind of stalls up the debate until the 12th round and knocks him out, he still wins the fight in the 12th round. It doesn't matter when he wins it. Another end, the conclusion of the debate was the novels are valid, or this novel in particular, so I was able to use it in the next debate. Just to note one other thing, I did actually get interrupted and cut off so many times in this video, on this debate. You'll see what I mean. The moderator didn't really do anything about it, which is obviously really disgusting because you should let the opponent speak. But I mean, it is what it is, and I don't think it actually affected the debate that much. It did, especially in the debate after this, but you'll see what I mean even in this debate. But anyways, next topic. So we want to talk about the Boruto movie novelization and whether that's canon in any way. Well, I suppose I'm making the positive claim, so I'll actually start then, okay. So, the Boruto movie novelization is actually canon, right? Because it's on the official corporate canon timeline, right? And also, Kishimoto himself actually was involved in it. He either co-wrote it or he actually supervised it. This is one of the major reasons why the novels are like considered canon within Naruto, right? And it's on the actual like timeline. And I know some people have actually been saying, oh well, it's outdated or something, right? But it's not, because it hasn't been retconned, right? Because it's a new timeline. This timeline came out about early last year, so it would have been past, and it would have been past all of this other stuff that supposedly, right, retconned it. So we know that it's not been retconned. It's shown alongside the Resuden novels, and those are quite new. And yeah, that was my opening statement.
So retcon is when the novel is different to the anime or the manga.
No, it's when it's when something is changed. When, like, let's say like you have like an original thing, and then something replaces it.
Once that Momoshiki, for example, created a parallel dimension in the actual manga.
Okay, look,
or the anime.
The actual
that particular topic would be a change.
The movie novelization, right, is like an extended version of it because they couldn't actually put everything in, right? And the thing is, it's not a retcon, because a retcon is when two events happen, right? And then one event like takes like priority over it. But this is like a completely separate feat. So to debunk it, you need a contradiction, right? And you haven't presented a contradiction.
And the contradiction is that you've never seen any creation feats within the manga or the anime or the
well,
movie
actually,
itself.
it makes sense in the context, because technically Kage can also make dimensions, right?
But
Using the
context is different to actual panel evidence. There is no panel.
Look, it doesn't matter because it's an extended
actual novel. Yes, it does, because that's what it means to be retconned. If it wasn't included in the major story,
okay, I disagree with the definition.
What happens in Boruto anime from chapters 7 to 9 in the manga is that it recaps everything that's supposed to be happening in the novel.
Plus that,
and in that novel, it purposely takes out specific parts. And even if you go on to some of the different English translations of the site, like Naruto fandom, they pulled out all the most important events that were in the novel and translation of it, and they never mentioned parallel dimension.
Okay, no offense, but you bringing up a fandom doesn't matter. You're appealing to an authority, right? You're appealing to an authority.
Like
I don't care. They're not a canon source. They're not official. They have no relevance. I don't care what they say. Okay, look, on fandom, right? Can you let me speak? So, on fandom, right? You can literally go on there right now and edit things on the fandom. So I could go there and write whatever the fuck I wanted, right? And it would change it, but it wouldn't.
Not on that one.
Well, actually, you can't. On the one, well, on most fandom, well, like take the Naruto wiki, right? You can on that.
Most fandoms, but
and plus, fans have actually written it. Okay, but fans have actually written the actual thing, right? It holds no value. You're appealing to authority, right? Because like, they're not some sort of like authority. They didn't write Naruto, right? They didn't write Boruto.
To authority. I stated that in the Boruto manga.
No, you're using them as an example.
We took it out from chapter 7 to 9.
Okay, no, but
through the whole thing,
okay, I'm referring to that one. I'm just referring to that one thing you used, right? About the whole fandom thing. You said, oh, well, they don't use it. I don't care if
And
they
I'm
use it.
referring to all the things you used. It's not. You said in order to be retconned, it has to be
Yes.
different.
No, so they have to be.
Story. It is different.
No, but
it's
one.
no longer in there anymore.
It's an no. It's not like they removed it. It's not like it was there originally, right? It's an
I'm just
extended
using
version
the
of a fight.
points. You said that it had to be different, and I'm proving it is.
Because look,
read
if you
through
look,
Boruto chapters 7 to
No.
9, it's never mentioned.
no, okay, look. It's not like it was there originally and then they retconned it. It's like an extended version of a fight that they just
That's
they didn't
the
add in that
definition of
certain feat,
retcon.
right?
You want to bring that up?
Okay, please get the definition up.
That's right.
And I can prove why it's not retconned anyways. Look, you'll see what I mean.
This is just a Google. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, just where you sending it?
I was gonna send it to scans.
Where's that?
I can
Scans.
send it somewhere else. Hang on.
Where the fuck? Where's scans?
Actually,
It's in
that's a good
text
point.
channels above calcs.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hold on. I can't send anything in there. Is there a reason for that?
Do you have like the role or like the?
I can send things to calcs, but I can't send things.
Yeah,
to
just
scans.
Yeah, I'll
go
just go to
to
calcs.
calcs.
I
Yeah.
sent it to calcs. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, calc. Yeah, scans is not working for me for some reason.
So look, it's a different exactly. Now, if you read the actual like definition you gave, it's like new information that imposes a different interpretation of described events. So if you're talking about that single thing, it's not like it was there originally and it replaces it. You're talking about the whole thing. You're talking about it as a whole. It doesn't matter because if you actually look at the timeline, the actual movie novelization is still on the timeline, right? They haven't replaced it. They haven't got rid of it, meaning they still consider it canon.
Retrospectively, we're looking at different interpretation on previously described events, and so the
No, we're talking about a single event. We're talking about that him draining the thing that wasn't there before. That's completely different. It doesn't matter if they added that or
multiple
not.
events that weren't mentioned in the novel, or that is mentioned in the novel. Sorry,
It is, yeah,
that
it
not
is.
mentioned in the manga.
It doesn't need to
it
be.
completely changed, and then it doesn't repeat it again as a further confirmation in the anime itself.
No, but
So
that's
you're
look.
relying totally on just the book alone.
It doesn't matter,
That's a good way
but
to know
even look,
that it's
even if a
it's
book just had it,
revised
right?
Fiction.
Even if a book had it, it's an extended version, right? So nothing's been like actually changed. It's just a completely separate feat, right? It's not like there was another feat and they replaced it with that. And now this actual book is still canon. They haven't retconned it because it's shown alongside the Rasuda novels that came out recently. It came out early last year, right? And that was after all this other retcon stuff, meaning they haven't actually retconned it yet. Sorry, this supposed retcon, which didn't happen because it still stayed as canon on the corporate canon timeline. And now, why we consider things canon on a canon corporate timeline is because it has to be like canon on a corporate level. Because if it isn't, it makes it difficult for like the actual company who is making it, right? When they're releasing all these novels, and that's one of the main reasons for novels actually shown as canon. And Kishimoto himself actually was involved in this novel. He actually supervised it. He supervises all of them.
And it's also shown that Kishimoto himself has changed things in the past.
Oh no, but he
still,
hasn't changed it. It's still on the canon
the only
corporate
thing that I'm
timeline.
specifically talking about that he's changed is the claims that are in the novel don't exist within.
It wasn't
main
changed.
Boruto manga.
Okay, look, I just
Because
want-
the Boruto manga. It is changed because it explains the exact.
It wasn't
same
there
set
before,
of
though.
events.
It's not like it was there before and it would
explains
change.
the exact same set of events. So
No,
we can,
okay,
we
look,
can actually look at
the
a
actual
direct
movie.
panel if you
Can you let me
like.
finish?
Let's look at a direct panel from the novel, and I'll show you how it's different. Okay.
It doesn't even have to be different. It's a completely separate thing that's been added. Because if you actually look at the movie, right? Okay, look, if you look at the original movie that came out, right? The original movie didn't have it either. This had it afterwards, and this actually came out afterwards.
They didn't think that it was part of the main
No, but
story
okay, look,
anymore.
this is a problem, right? The novel came out after the original movie, right? Okay? And when it came out afterwards, right? It's not like they had added it or removed it or anything. If anything, they had added it, and they didn't include it in the anime, right? Or manga, right? But it doesn't matter, because it's canon on corporate
It does matter,
timeline, and it
because
hasn't been
there's
changed.
There's 3 credible sources, which is films, anime,
Okay, look,
manga,
that wouldn't make it on
and
canon,
they
though.
all didn't include anything that you're saying from the novel. There are some parts in the novel.
Look, some
that
people
were
consider it like alternate canon or something, but it's still canon to some degree. Because, like,
So
look,
you
it's
agree
on.
that it was alternate canon then?
No, I don't know, because that's not the premise. The premise is it's canon
But
to some
you
degree.
brought that up. You said that it was alternate canon. That would mean it's retcon.
What do you mean alternate canon? No, I said some people. No, I said some people consider it.
Means.
No.
If it's a different or
I
alternative
said
story,
some people
that's
consider
retcon.
it that. I'm rebuttaling it, right? I'm saying that
Okay.
it's not because it's on the official canon timeline, right?
and it hasn't been retconned because it's on the official timeline, right? The new official timeline, which happens afterwards, meaning that it's a separate thing.
Just because it's separate doesn't mean that it's this actual main.
But how does it
story.
make it
Because
uncanon?
the Boruto manga takes precedence over.
Okay, look, the data book. Take the data book, right?
The manga, generally speaking, clarifies anything that didn't happen in.
No, look, it doesn't matter because like some things, right? If you take the data book,
the data books usually support the manga as well.
no, if a data book actually goes into more detail about something happening, right, or talks about like this other feat that could be possible, right, we will still consider that canon because the actual data book is canon. It doesn't actually, the feat itself doesn't actually need to be in the manga.
What are you trying to prove from the data books? You can.
Okay, look, this is what I'm trying to say. When we talk about things like this, right, let's talk about a principle of consistency, right? And you have all of these things because in Japan they don't actually have like a main canon or anything, right? They consider like everything that is official like canon, right? And where I'm going with this, right, is that you will have feats and stuff. Like take the data book.
The data that statement.
The data book might say something, right?
So you
but
no
because it's written by Kishimoto, right?
Non-canon.
No, because it's written. No, the data book is completely canon. But if the actual like author writes something, right, we have to like take that like face value, right? I know. Okay, it doesn't actually need to be supporting evidence or whatever. But if it's not for you to rebuttal something, there needs to be a contradiction.
It is contradictory.
There is no contradiction. It's not happening.
And I can explain how it's a contradiction.
Okay, how is it a contradiction?
Because it was never mentioned.
That it not being mentioning is not a contradiction.
Boruto manga.
Because you're claiming it changed. That's the contradiction, but it wasn't. It's because it's an extended version of a fight. It's an extra feat. Take for example the actual data book. If a feat doesn't happen in the manga, but then the data book states, right? Oh, a character can do this, right? Let's say the data book says a character can blow up a star, right? This is just an example, right? And it doesn't happen in the manga, but it doesn't mean they're not capable of it. That is still a canon statement. Do you understand the actual statement itself being canon?
Wait, what did you say? The data books.
Okay, look, that was my example. If a data book says a character, this is just an example. I'm not saying this actually happens in Naruto. If a data book says, right, a character can blow up a star, right, but it's not shown in the manga, right, or in the anime, the actual statement itself, right, for that data book, which is written by the author, would still be canon.
Unless if it's only a name title, or if like.
Okay, no, but I'm saying if it was in the text. Okay.
There's multiple exceptions.
Okay, no, I'm saying if it was declarative
and in
statement.
This case, it's definitely one of those.
It's not hyperbole.
Outliers.
Okay, now you're claiming it's an outlier.
A main point. Even if it was.
Okay, I don't care if I don't care if it's an outlier or whatever, right? That's not what we're debating. We're not okay.
In part of the main story. That's why it was changed.
We're not arguing if it's an outlier. We're arguing if the actual feat itself is canon. Which it is, because I gave you an example. If something is stated, right, take the data book, right. If it's stated that a character can blow up a sun, and it's not shown, and it's not shown in the manga or anime, the actual statement will still be canon. I think that's a good example. All right. Do you have a rebuttal to that?
There's many parts in the novel that are canon, and that includes the stuff that was included in Boruto, the manga, the anime, and the film.
No, the whole novel is canon because it's on the canon corporate timeline.
Was canon. But it's no different to a filler. In a filler episode, you sometimes it's mixed canon because anything that was included in the manga is considered canon. But things that weren't included in the manga and it's just added information is considered filler.
Well, usually no. The things that are considered actually. Technically, if you take filler, right? You're right. You can actually, you can claim that some. Okay, let me finish. You can claim that some fillers are canon, right? Because like maybe Kishimoto is more involved in them or something, right? But if you have a certain feat, right, that is contradicted, right, then you can kind of claim that it's not right. But in this case, right, it's not contradicted because like it's a declarative statement, right? And there's nothing saying otherwise, right, to this. And like I gave you that example of a data book. If a data book like makes a declarative statement, if an actual statement is canon, it'd still be canon. It's not like the feat you just ignore it or something, and it wouldn't be considered canon. Maybe you could claim it's an outlier, but that's not what we're debating here. We're debating whether the actual feat is canon. The actual statement of him draining chakra from beyond his
because it was taken
universe.
Out of 3 credible sources. We've only got one.
Dude, I gave you an example. If you have a data book, right, and the data book states.
No, just let me add another point. In the Japanese book itself, it's no longer sold. You can buy. There's like 1 copy left, and you can go like try to buy it now. The fact that even in the Japanese raw text of this book, it was not considered important enough to mass produce, and they never translated it officially into English.
Oh well, no, they haven't got to that yet.
No, hang on. Let me finish that.
Okay.
Why do you think they prioritize translating the Boruto movie, the Boruto manga.
Wait, what? You just said they.
Is that making that sound?
You just said that they did translate the movie.
Translating those things, and they didn't include the exact statement.
No, it's because it's not in high demand. Okay, now this is completely different. This is a completely different topic because what they usually what they actually print, right? I'm trying no, because you're talking about translation now. Okay, can you let me finish?
Because it hasn't been translated.
The reason they haven't done it yet is because it wasn't that popular. It has to be like really popular in order for them to like kind of translate it. And plus, they're still translating
you're agreeing that it's not popular enough to be.
Okay, I'm gonna debunk you. I'm gonna debunk you because take the 4th Ninja data book, right, for Naruto. That hasn't been officially translated. Does that make it any less canon? Do people not care about that?
The 4th official data book
for Naruto, yeah, the one with like all of the main stuff about Kaguya's like realm busting, etc. You know, the one that everybody knows about. That hasn't been officially translated.
And neither has the 1st or 2nd.
Exactly. Does that mean that they're not canon? It's kind of a dumb argument, right? Saying, oh well, it hasn't been officially translated, so it's not canon. What kind of logic is that? Something doesn't need to be officially translated for it to be canon.
If you're trying to base your argument off a fan translation panel that is not necessarily...
Okay, look, it doesn't matter. I'm just claiming the actual feat.
Well, it does matter. What do you have the raw Japanese that states that particular panel actually says?
Okay, look.
What it says in the
now, here's the problem, right? What was my premise?
Here's a 4th point: is that even if somehow found in the books, no one has ever shown that it actually came in the Japanese one.
Okay, wait, guys, can somebody state my premise?
The thing with the fan translation.
What, Happy? What was my premise?
Your premise was that. Hang on, let me bring it up again. You're claiming that the movie novelization is a valid.
Yeah,
source?
the movie novel. Like, yes, the movie novelization. I'm not talking about that.
Opposite.
I'm not talking about that certain scan or anything. I don't. Basically, if I wanted to, right, I could bring up kanji for any point, right, from the movie, right. I don't need that certain thing there, because we're not talking about that specific feat, right. It could be literally any feat from the actual like from a movie novelization. We're talking about why the movie novelization is considered canon. Now, you still haven't rebutted. It's still on an official corporate timeline, right?
I did say that anything that is in a filler...
Okay, so look, I rebutted you, right? I rebutted your whole thing about you saying, well, if it's like not been translated, right, it's not canon. I rebutted that. I also rebutted the whole point about you kind of bringing up the... You said you had a contradiction or something, but there wasn't a contradiction because it was like an extended version of something. I didn't... Okay, I mean, I also debunked what you said. I debunked that by the analogy, right? That if a data book states, if it makes a declarative statement, right? Let's say it says... I'm not saying that this is the truth, but if it says somebody can blow up the sun, right? The actual statement will still be canon.
Well, I can also counter...
It doesn't matter if it's like a hyperbole word, but the actual statement...
It does matter. It's because in the data books it says, for example, Kurama is planetary. But okay, in the actual panel itself, plus the manga, plus the anime, they all don't show any feats of that.
Okay, look, even if that's a hyperbole, even if that's a hyperbole, that doesn't matter.
That it is a hyperbole.
Okay.
Sometimes it's over-exaggerated.
Okay, guys, listen to this. Literal. Okay, I'm gonna debunk this, right? It being a hyperbole doesn't matter. Okay, you could say it's hyperbole, but the actual statement is canon. I'm trying to prove it's canon. It doesn't matter if it's a hyperbole. It doesn't matter if it's an outlier.
There can be hyperboles, and then some statements aren't always as it is.
What is my... Do you know what my premise is? I'm trying to prove that it's canon. I don't care. It doesn't matter if it's like a hyperbole, an outlier. As long as I'm claiming that it's actually canon.
The argument was that the data books, because they weren't translated, that doesn't necessarily make them non-canon. But what I was saying is that not everything in the data books, even though they are canon, are justified within the manga.
Okay, it doesn't matter. But data book.
And this
okay.
is the same.
Oh my fucking god,
this particular topic is that
no, you're not understanding the. You're not
justified within the.
You're not understanding the analogy.
In the context of the story, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't need to make sense, right? Because the actual statement is canon. The book itself, right, is a canon book. It's on the corporate.
To the writer, he can remove it in the.
Oh no, but he hasn't removed it though. He hasn't removed it.
Alright, now, wait, hold on. So in the middle of it, I'm just gonna let y'all know.
It's on a corporate canon timeline.
Wait, I'm gonna let y'all know what your arguments are, right? So, Bullet, you're just basically saying, unless the novels are just add-ons, right, and unless they're contradicted, they're canon. That's what you're saying,
yeah.
Right? And Happy, your argument is basically that like the manga and anime, right, have to back up. Is that your argument, Happy?
And otherwise, whatever's considered that's not in the anime or the manga
Look,
and
what you're
supported
talking
by
about is if it's you're talking about if it's
considered,
consistent.
canon.
You're talking about if it's consistent. That doesn't matter. I'm just claiming it's canon.
Like a
That's
filler
completely
episode.
different.
Like a filler episode sometimes has canon manga stuff, and then whatever else isn't from the manga is considered filler or mixed canon.
No, but this is different. This is an entire book. Take the data book. It's like the data book a little bit. Like the data book doesn't need to be officially translated for it to be canon. And if a data book has like some sort of like, we can use the principle of consistency here, right? Just because there's like one contradiction in the work, right, doesn't make it not valid, right? Take the manga. Take the manga. If I said in the manga there's a contradiction and that's not canon, but it wouldn't work like that because of the principle of like consistency, right? I think Immanuel Kant talked about this, right? So like when you have like multiple sources and stuff, right, you want to kind of apply it to everything, especially in this case if it's like no contradiction. Because the reason I'm saying there's like no contradiction is because not only is this like an extended version of something
from the manga or the anime that there's no contradiction.
There doesn't need to be, because look, I gave you a perfect analogy that makes sense.
Need to be in the manga at all.
This is all I need, right? I need that one analogy saying that if the data book states, right, it doesn't matter like where it states it. Let's say it states it in like the main text or whatever, right? That character can blow up a star, right? If that's stated, right, that actual statement, because it was written by the author, becomes canon. It doesn't matter if it's like a hyperbole or if it's inconsistent or whatever, right? That feat would become canon based off that. Whether it's like not like consistent or hyperbole is up to like, that's a completely different debate. And you keep on going back to that, and I'm like, that's not relevant to my actual premise.
So I'm gonna send you some of the exact statements from the Boruto manga from chapter 7, and it goes over the exact wording that happens in the part of the book, right?
It's an extended version. It doesn't matter.
Missed out stuff from the novel, so that this is a perfect example of how the novel isn't always followed, and it's completely changed the story because the same set of events were recapped and mentioned in a different way.
Dude, so it's on the corporate canon timeline. Okay, you know what? You haven't actually rebutted. I've rebutted like literally every point, right? But you haven't actually rebutted the corporate canon timeline. Can you address that? Is that canon? The corporate canon timeline, which is actually new. It came out like early last year. Do you know what the corporate canon timeline is?
Are you talking about the little pictures that display which books are canon and which are not?
Yeah. The one with the timeline and stuff.
Do you have it to share?
Yeah. Do you want it? Okay, I'm going to send it, right? Okay. Actually, you know, I'm actually going to bring up something even more. Like, I'm going to bring up that and something else to make it even more interesting.
So we're just going to concede that point, or?
No, wait, no, it's not over. What are you talking about? I need to send the scans.
That particular point that you said that there was a timeline.
Yes, I'm sending that as well, but like I'm sending like multiple scans now because I've actually found something else.
He's just basically saying he has more points he
wants
to bring up too.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to Calcs because that's where people are sending stuff.
I can send them now if you want.
Oh yeah. So that's it. Calcs or whatever I need to send it in.
Okay. Alright, so I'm sending these are just chapter pages from the Boruto manga, chapter 7, and you can read along from the book. I'm gonna send a panel that basically recounts the exact same events that are here, but it particularly takes out the two panels sent. Okay, cool. It takes out the part that mentions anything to do with Momoshiki. Okay,
look, guys, what you're looking at here, right, is a corporate canon timeline, right, for Naruto, right? Now the first scan here, right, shows you like a timeline. This is the old timeline, right, and it has the Boruto movie novelization at the end, and it talks about like it being canon. Now in the second scan, this is an updated version because we see the Resuden series, right? So clearly here, what we're seeing, right, is that like they still consider it canon. If it wasn't canon, they would remove it. And this is the scan, the main scan that makes
They did remove it, and that's what I'm going to show.
Well, it's right there. So, it's alongside the Resuden novels, which came out early last year.
Okay, so here we
which is past the actual anime. So it would be newer than any version of the fight.
So I think it was chapter 9, wasn't it? I'm just quickly taking this Kinshiki panel that I shared before, where it's talking about Momoshiki eating Kinshiki.
I've already addressed this.
Hang on, let me quickly read it just so I can show the exact statement. How my clan does it, let me show you. And then he eats Kinshiki, right? This is from the same book.
Okay, I want to ask you something.
The same panel that I think you're referring to, which was the star draining plus the parallel dimension being mentioned. So
that's the Hoshi thing, isn't it?
I had to use the, where is it? Kinshiki dried up and rotted away. Kinshiki let out a scream.
You do, okay, this is what I want to establish. You do realize when this happened, Sasuke was like the only one who could see. Sasuke was the only one. Now we're talking about that feat, right? Sasuke was the only one who could actually see it, right? It was like a stream of chakra. So it could still have happened in this version of it. We just don't see it. And that's what I'm trying to say, right? Let's say like in the data book or something, it's stated that he has like an ability, right? That we just don't see, right? That ability, we wouldn't be like, that ability is not canon now. Just based off that.
Alright, so this is the panel that people always
and guys,
send me.
The actual, the novels, right?
An ogre into comrade, whatever.
On a corporate level.
And then began to suck in the chakra from his surroundings. He was even draining the chakra that was beyond the parallel dimension. But
Sasuke uses his Rinnegan to see this.
Just the section right before it, it says the transfer of power that is our clan's law. Momoshiki said, and then ate the pills that had been created from Kinshiki. So if we look at the two panels that I just shared, how it talks about how my clan does it, let me show you, and then he eats Kinshiki. This is talking about the same set of events. But this next section, this entire section was never mentioned in the exact
okay, now this is what I'm trying to get onto.
In the Boruto manga.
Sasuke is the only one.
Makes it different.
Sasuke's
it's completely different. The story has changed.
No, it's just that nobody else sees it, right? Because Sasuke,
it's been changed in the manga, the anime, and the film of the actual novel itself.
Okay, no, this is okay. Let's address this first, right? The novel actually comes out after the movie, right? So if anything, it would be like a retcon to the movie, whatever. We're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the anime and manga, right? Now, it doesn't need to be in anime or manga. And this is what I'm trying to get onto, right? I'm trying to say that it was actually Sasuke, his Rinnegan, right? Because he stated his Rinnegan, to clearly see the stream. Meaning that, like, Sasuke was the only one who could see it, right?
Do you have a panel for that in the manga? Because they don't actually mention that at all.
No, it doesn't need to be mentioned. This is what I'm trying to say. Sasuke is the only one who sees.
They took it out completely.
No, Sasuke is the only one who's.
If you go to the next chapter, or even in the same chapter.
Look, Sasuke uses his Rinnegan to see it, right?
Him being able to see anything.
No, but we just don't see it from his perspective. Right? And it's actually consistent.
You see him standing there for a long time.
No, look, I could look at somebody, right?
He's not using it.
I could look at.
Do you want me to post the whole of chapter 8? There isn't once that he ever sees any stream.
Okay, he doesn't need to see a stream, right? Like, I could look at Sasuke, right? But it doesn't mean I can see from, like,
Sasuke. It's
Sasuke.
not in the manga at all.
Look, listen to me. You could look at Sasuke, right? But you're not going to see from Sasuke's perspective, right?
Are you going to ignore my question?
Okay, what's your question?
Agree that it's not in the manga.
Do I agree that it's not in the manga? It doesn't need to be in the manga. I've already addressed this using that analogy. The data book analogy. No,
it's not in the manga, so there's.
That doesn't make it not being in the manga doesn't make it non-canon. If something's not in the manga, and right, let's say it's in the data book or something.
So you're saying that fillers are canon?
Well, it depends. It's a case by case thing.
Would you include fillers in that statement?
It would depend.
Would you include fillers? Would you include novels? Would you include anything that was stated to be a filler? Even?
It would be a case by case thing. I couldn't say like for sure.
Case by case. Like this case, it's very different.
No, it's not, because the reason it's not different.
It is different because it wasn't.
There's no contradiction. It's not
yourself. If it was a different or change in the story, then it would.
It's not a change because we just don't see it, right? The reason we don't see it is because we don't see from Sasuke's perspective.
No, we do. You actually do see.
No, we don't see from his vision. Okay, look, I can look at Sasuke, but I can't see from his perspective.
Let's bring out some of chapter 8 then. Do you want to post exactly what you're talking about? Where does it show we never see Sasuke's perspective? Because from what I remember,
what do you mean?
Chapter 7 and 8, Sasuke specifically starts talking about Boruto, and he says, "Hey, maybe we should use your ability because what I'm seeing here is your ability has an effect on Momoshiki." From Sasuke's perspective, it starts talking from his perspective.
Just because like Sasuke is talking, right?
He's seeing, but it never mentions that he sees the stream of chakra that you're stating.
Well, no, actually,
change to the story.
in this, right?
What it does mention. It mentions.
This is a narrator speaking.
Using the vanishing Rasengan, and even if you look in the actual novel that you're trying.
This happens at the beginning of the fight, by the way.
It recounts the events of that exact Boruto using
dude
his Rasengan. So
they can let me talk.
They included the Boruto part where he's using the Rasengan shows that that part that you're talking about specifically in isolation was taken out.
No, because this is what you're claiming that it was from his perspective. It was just because I'm looking at a character, right?
What do you mean?
Doesn't mean it's from his
perspective. There's plenty of panels.
Look, okay,
Sasuke.
No, Sasuke's the one seeing the stream, right?
But they're actually going over the same set of events. They just didn't include the ones that you're talking about.
Okay, look, Sasuke is the one who sees the stream, right? Right? Nobody else actually sees the stream because he uses his Rinnegan.
Where does it say that in the manga?
It doesn't need. Okay, look, I'm just talking about the novel, and then I'm going to explain how it kind of relates to the thing, right?
Yeah,
so he sees. Okay,
me, how that fits in. And
okay, I'll explain how it fits in, right? And because the thing is, if I prove why it fits in, right, then there's no contradiction. So look, so okay, Sasuke.
But then that would lead into our next debate.
Okay, look. Sasuke actually sees the stream using his Rinnegan, whatever, right? Meaning that, you know, he sees it, right? And it's like, you need a Rinnegan to see it, hence he's activating the Rinnegan. So nobody else sees it, right? But now, in the actual anime and movie, right? No, sorry. In the anime and manga, right? We don't actually see from Sasuke's perspective. We hear him talking, but just because I'm looking at somebody and hearing them talk, right? Doesn't mean I'm seeing something from their perspective. And like I said, I use the analogy of the data book, right? If something's stated within like a canon source, right? No, you don't actually need. Look, if something declaratively stated,
what do you mean you don't need? Because it's the same set of events. So if what you're saying is true, it should be in the manga.
No, because look, the thing is, right? It fits perfectly into it. There's no contradiction.
I'm looking right now, and what you're saying is completely contradicted.
It's not contradicted.
You want me to share some panels or something?
Why would that be contradicted?
From Sasuke's perspective, and he does comment on what's going on in the events.
What the fuck? Okay, how is it contradicted?
Because you're saying that you never see from Sasuke's perspective.
Okay, yeah.
You literally see him zoom in on Sasuke, and then it goes to see.
Okay, so you're saying it zooms into Sasuke's face, right? And he's looking.
No, but then it also goes from his view of Momoshiki and what he's seeing.
Oh, so from his actual eyes. Are you saying from his eyes? Like an eye perspective?
Yes.
Oh, can you send that then?
Correct.
That's shown in the manga.
What I'm saying is like I don't understand where you've
gotten. Okay, can you please send that scan?
Chapter 8, you consistently see.
You don't, but
Sasuke looking. You do.
No, but do we see it from his eye perspective?
Can you prove that he doesn't? Because he does.
Okay, can you send the scan? You're making a claim, right? Send the scan.
I'm doing like, well, I have to copy all of chapter 8 because it's literally like 20 different times that he's talking from his perspective.
No, I don't care if he's talking. I want to see from his perspective because I could see somebody talking, right? But that doesn't mean I'm seeing it from their perspective.
Hold on, I'm copying about 12 panels.
And I just want to see the panel or the panels where we see from his actual eye view.
All right, so where's this calcs? Is it? This is pretty much just any part with Sasuke from chapter 8, right? And you can see him talking and discussing the fight.
Wait, where are you sending this? Have you sent it?
I sent it to Calcs.
Wait, Calcs? I'm in Calcs right now. Where is it? Where is it? The actual manga scans. Oh wait, yeah, it's coming through.
So I think if you look specifically at
where's it from Sasuke's perspective?
We'll just you can read through half of them if you want.
This is from like Boruto's perspective. I can't wimp out now when he's looking at Momoshiki.
Look at this. You'll need to do it. This is Sasuke, and then it faces in the direction of what he's seeing.
Okay, this is a complete. Okay,
he's looking at Boruto, and so he's analyzing the entire situation.
Okay, this is a completely different case.
He literally says,
"No, I want you to prove. You can. No, you claimed. You okay?
The only way that you win this fight is based on." Using the
like look, you claimed right. You claimed that he saw the stream and it was and like from his perspective, when it
that he saw the stream. I'm claiming that he was looking at Momoshiki. He was
while he was transforming. He
never mentioned the stream. That was what I stated. You me.
No, this is what I'm saying. While he was transforming, right? Did Sasuke look at him and was it shown from his perspective while he was looking at the transformation? Yes or no?
How's that relevant?
Because that's the thing. That's actually when the feat happens, when he's transforming. Why are you showing me a random panel?
Can you show me that? That's exactly when that happens. He's looking at the.
You know when it happens. You're the one who told me when it happens.
I shared the text. I shared the text, and in that text, it was straight after him eating kinshiki.
Yes, that scene, right?
This is when straight after eating kinshiki.
Where? What scene?
That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, wait. What scene?
The same set of
events. No, there's like 10 scans there.
What's happening on?
What scan are you talking about?
From the text that I sent.
Wait, what one?
Novel, it states that he ate Kinshiki. This is the way our clan does it.
Okay.
It is the same as the 2 panels that I shared from chapter 7, explaining the same.
Okay, what
set
2
of
panels?
events.
Tell
And
me the
then,
2 panels.
And then in the novel, right, it talks about draining stars and seeing a stream.
Well, it says Hoshi actually, but that's a different.
Sasuke's Rinnegan, and it talks about creating parallel dimensions. But I've shared the
No, you
chapter
haven't. Okay.
directly after, and it doesn't mention any of those feats straight away as it does in the novel.
Guy,
Therefore, it's
my guy.
completely removed.
Well, no, because I asked for a certain scan. I asked for, do you know when he was draining the thing, right?
Why am I looking for scans to support your
No,
claim
it's your
that
claim.
thing is official?
Dude, I'm claiming, right, that when it happens, or we never see it from Sasuke's perspective. And look, the scans you've sent actually prove it when he's transforming. We don't see it from Sasuke's perspective. We just see Sasuke rushing at him. But I can look at somebody, right? And that doesn't mean I'm seeing it from their perspective.
There's far more
Dude,
scans.
just admit it. You can't find it. You can't find the scan.
No, you can't find it because it doesn't exist in the thing. Thank you for
No,
accepting that.
no, you're the one claiming, right? When he's looking at him and stuff is from Sasuke's perspective. Because look, my claim. Okay, listen to my claim. Listen to my claim. My claim is when it actually happens, when Momoshiki absorbs all of his stuff, right? Sasuke's the only one who can see it, and we never actually see from Sasuke's perspective, so we don't know if it happens. Because if you look at the novel, right, it's the narrator speaking.
What are you talking about? There's multiple times in the exact.
Okay, look at the novel. The novel says
at Momoshiki, and he's analyzing the situation.
No, because look, the novel says, right, but it's actually from the perspective of the actual narrator. Sorry, the narrator is saying that he's absorbing all of this stuff or whatever, right? And then what happens is, right, the narrator also states that it's from Sasuke's like perspective. He's the one using his Rinnegan to see the stream, right? But in the actual manga and anime, right, the reason we don't see it is because we don't see it from Sasuke's perspective. He's the only one who can see it. So there's no contradiction. There doesn't need to be an inherent contradiction in this case. Because the thing is, I just need to prove that it makes sense. If it's possible in this case at all, right? If it's possible, right? Then I've won this.
So, like, let me get what are you trying to say? You what exact event are you talking about? That when do you place Sasuke supposedly seeing the stream? When in the manga,
it happens when
if you had to chuck it in somewhere.
You told me when it is. It happens when he's eating the chakra thing. Remember, like the whole transformation scene.
Yeah. So in the entirety of chapter 8, and then straight after, he is looking at Momoshiki. He's analyzing him.
Okay, look,
I've got some more scans. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I've got more scans.
Okay, send the scans, please.
Sasuke analyzing the entire fight. Okay.
Okay, but he never says anything in the novel, so he didn't say anything in the manga. It's not inconsistent.
What are you talking about?
It's not inconsistent because look in the manga, right? He doesn't actually state what happens.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so in the novel, right, he doesn't actually like state that like, oh, I can see all of his stream stuff. That's like that's a narrative thing. That's the narrator speaking, right? And then what happens is, right, in the actual like anime and manga, right, he doesn't state anything, so it's consistent with that. It's just happening. Sasuke is the one seeing this. The narrator is trying to tell us that Sasuke can see his streams and stuff. But that's not stated in the manga because we see it's happening from Sasuke's perspective, right? But we don't actually see his perspective from the actual like manga and the anime, so there's no actual contradiction or anything. It makes sense in this case as long as it actually fits into the actual narrative, right? Then there's no contradiction. As long as there can be some sort of, as long as it's possible.
What? Why can't I upload more than? Okay, well, I'm gonna have to do this.
So this is the only way you can prove that it didn't happen. You're gonna have to show it from Sasuke looking at Momoshiki, right, while he's transforming and not seeing the stream.
I'm about to do that.
Okay.
Wait, transforming? What's the transforming part got to do with it?
It's what you state it happens when he like eats the fruit and he's like transforming and stuff, right? And it's right after he's transformed, he's absorbing the.
No. I said it happened after, as it does exactly in the book.
Okay, fine. It happens after. You need to.
So that's why I'm saying after he transforms.
It's right. Okay, wait. Let me just clarify. It happens right after the transformation, right?
Let's see how much further.
Because look, in the actual novel, it states like he eats. So it's a law of a clan. They eat the fruit, and then he does this instantly afterwards. So you need a scan right after he's eating the fruit.
Transfer of power, that is our clan's law. Momoshiki said and ate the Cinnaba Pansia pills that had been created from Kinshiki. The color of his flesh changed. Chakra spurted out from all of his body.
Yeah, so it's happening during a transformation.
The star was our Utsukushi pole. Yeah, he came now from the time he was truly an ogre. Those who would eat the soul of someone who'd been like a father couldn't be anything. So this is like significantly later.
No, it's not actually. It's like he's transformed.
No, it's still going. It's still going.
Yeah, okay, so he's still going.
From being an ogre into a comrade-eating fiend, transformed to inhuman, began.
Yeah, there we go. So it happens. It happens after the transformation.
Like
it happens
directly after.
Yeah, it happens directly after the
that's
transformation.
What I shared. I literally shared panels pretty much directly after.
No, that'll be way after because like look, the actual novel
was actually draining chakra.
Okay, the panels that you showed, right? The panels that you showed
from chapter 8. He transforms in the last panel of chapter 7, and then in chapter 8 this is where.
Okay, so look, the panels that you gave me, right?
After that,
the panels that you gave me, the panels you gave me
8.
are actually stayed in the novel to happen later, so it would actually be before them, anyways. Also, none of the panels are from Sasuke's perspective.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've completely.
So then, yeah, then I'm right.
Straight after him transforming, this is Sasuke looking at Momoshiki. And guess
Well, no,
what?
we don't know if that's from Sasuke. We don't know if that's from Sasuke's perspective.
What do you mean? You asked me to send the panel straight after. This is straight after he transforms, and you can see him still doing weird transformation.
Yes,
things
but I'm saying we only see it
panel
from Sasuke's
directly
perspective.
after that. This is direct contradiction to this novel.
It's actually.
And you're saying it's canon. It's
Well,
not
no,
canon.
it would be. It would
It's
be
been
considered
changed.
canon.
They removed it from the actual main canon, official.
No, they don't.
photo,
They haven't.
manga, anime and film.
No, look, it's still on the corporate
That is
canon
my
timeline,
point.
and look, the feats. Look,
That is my point.
going back to what we said earlier, you still haven't proved it,
Recounting has not
dude.
been included.
You still haven't proved it. It's from Sasuke's perspective.
Yes, I have. Look.
How?
No, but look. He's looking. You can see in the one panel alone where.
Okay, what one can you specify?
Where he's looking in the direction he's looking, which is at Momoshiki. And
Wait,
then
what
you
one
can
is
see
it?
Momoshiki. You don't see any stream. You can actually see every single character.
No, because it needs to
in
be
the
from
one panel.
Sasuke's. It needs to be from Sasuke's
Are
vision.
you specifically ignoring the evidence?
No, it needs to be from Sasuke's vision. You haven't told me what scan that is. What scan is
I
it?
did.
Okay, you sent multiple scans. What one?
The first of the 3 that I just sent.
Okay, the first of the 3.
So if you go back 3, it has a whole field view of everything that's going on.
Okay, so is it is it a scan with like?
Do you see any chakra lands there?
Oh no, is it okay? Is it a scan with like Boruto?
This is the scan directly after.
Okay, is it a scan of like Boruto, Naruto, and then there's like Sasuke in the was like Darawi, like I think that's Sasuke in the back.
It's got everybody in the top.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
not everybody in the top, and then in the middle you see Sasuke. You see him looking at Momo.
No, okay, this is my point. Look. So just because I'm looking at somebody doesn't mean it's from their perspective. I can look at you. It doesn't mean I can see from your perspective.
Top panel.
That's not Sasuke's perspective. Prove that's Sasuke's perspective. We can actually, I think we can see Sasuke right next to... Sasuke's right next to Momoshiki, actually.
You're telling me...
No, actually, you're wrong. Look at the top panel. In the panel you're talking about... Dude, Happy, look at the panel. Dude, you fucked up. Look at the panel. We see Sasuke in the top view.
What we do see is that's been removed. Because if we did...
Oh, now you're going back on that. Okay, so you're ignoring this?
No, I've always been consistent with my story.
You haven't though.
Your story is not included in the bottom manga.
I'm judging. I want to judge to listen to this.
Has been and it is proven.
I want to judge to listen to this, right? So what the actual claim is, right? Like I just need to prove that it fits into the actual narrative, right? Now Sasuke.
And it doesn't.
No, Sasuke uses his Rinnegan. I mean, he's the only one who can see it, right? He sees the actual streams, like from Momoshiki, like him draining like chakra from beyond his dimension, right? But in the manga, we don't see it from his perspective, right? And this is a narrator stating it, meaning that it's not like it didn't happen, right? So essentially, what I'm trying to get at right here is like it's not a contradiction, right? Because like there's no point, right, where the streams don't actually exist because we never see it from Sasuke's perspective. I mean, as long as I can prove that it actually fits into the narrative in any shape, way, or form, and there's no contradiction, right? Then that's fine. And I think I've done that. Judge. And I used that example of like, something can be stated. I also used that. Definitely, remember that whole like thing about like, if something stayed in like that book, like somebody can blow up a star, right? And it's not like shown in like the manga or something. Doesn't mean the actual statement itself isn't canon. And also, you didn't actually rebuttal the corporate canon timeline thing. Do you agree with that?
What's the quote?
I sent it, and I proved, right? I sent two versions of it.
On
old, okay.
Because you moved on.
Okay, if you scroll up, right.
I can't see where it is. You want to send it again?
It takes a while. Look, if you scroll up, right, it wasn't like really, it wasn't that long ago, right? If you keep scrolling up, there's like 2 scans for the actual like.
Yeah, but like no one speaks Japanese, so what does this mean?
Oh, it's a corporate canon timeline. So like what happened was basically
what?
Biz, right? What happened was, right, it's a corporate thing. So like to sell their actual like
3, 4, 5.
To actually sell the like novels and stuff, right? It has to be on on this corporate timeline, right?
You have to explain it for everyone else.
All right, okay. So for anybody who doesn't understand, right, the corporate canon timeline, right, was created by like not just Viz, but like Shueisha, right? And they kind of like create this timeline where they had to put the novels on, and for them to understand how the story functions, and also how they're gonna sell it and stuff, so other people also understand the corporate canon timeline. And this is the main reason why like everybody considers the novels canon. Does that make sense? So like if you look at the first one, right, the first one is the old one, right? The old one shows the Boruto movie novelization, right? And then the second one is a newer one with the Rasuda novels that came out earlier last year, which actually precedes the whole like not just the movie, right? The manga and the anime. So it's like the newest actual version, and it's still shown on there, meaning that they still consider it canon. Can you explain that for me, Happy? Why is it still on there?
Yeah, so like I said before, just like a filler, just because it says that the filler's canon, doesn't necessarily mean it's all canon, every single event in the actual story. The only things that would be considered canon and filler is if it was stated from the manga. For example,
okay, look,
Kakashi was stated to cut lightning, and because that filler episode is considered filler, but because it's based on a statement from the manga, which was that Guy said that Kakashi cut lightning, it was technically that anything that's got to do with that particular statement would be canon, because it's canonic with the actual story.
Okay, so
stating that
if you actually look at all,
Kakashi was indeed able to cut lightning, so it's not contradicting the main story or the main plot or the main canon.
Okay, now
whereas
when people
if it's not mentioned in the actual main story,
you're talking about you're talking about how like certain fans
change the events, then that would indicate that it's been either
that's your opinion
or it's filler.
No, because this is how the way you the way you're judging what is canon, right, is you're deciding what is canon due to contradiction, right, or whatever, right? No, sorry, you're basing it or whether it fits the narrative or something, right?
Well, let's look at another example then. With Kaguya episode 460, right? It states that it's mixed canon, but it's talking about Kaguya.
Okay, so mixed canon will still make it canon.
And it explains the backstory. Is everything canon in that? No, some of it's filler. But
what
we do know is canon is anything that was stated in the manga, which was stated that
we use a principle of consistency.
Obtain chakra.
Okay.
And that's some of the things that you see in the and the filler. And so the manga
I see where this is going.
And the filler supports the manga. Whereas what you're stating is that everything in the novels is 100% canon.
No, I said it's look. What I'm saying, right, now we're talking about actual movie novelization, right? I'm saying that it would be considered canon. What you're doing is you're kind of like using like your like opinion and stuff, right? You're trying to say that, well, some things would be canon, some things wouldn't, based off like whether they actually work with the... Because it is, but look, if you actually...
Multiple different...
Forums, right? Yeah, exactly, forums. It's the fans, it's up to the fans.
They have statements saying it's mixed canon or not.
Well, no, I know exactly. Actually, what they don't. It's never officially stated what's mixed canon or not, right? But it's like it's fan thing. So what happens is like you have like certain fans who like, oh, well, some things don't make sense. So they kind of have to use their own like initiative, right? And they have to use their own kind of like headcanon to kind of assume what's more canon than something else. But inherently, right, there's no like true canon.
In the filler episodes, Naruto can use the flying.
Because like I said, look, in Japan, right, everything.
No, it's not part of the main story.
No, like when we talk about the actual main story and stuff, right?
You
Like
never see him using the flying Raijin again. But there's multiple examples of
this is what I'm getting onto, right? This is what I'm getting onto. So now the actual movie novel, like I did say earlier, it was like a case by case thing. But like if you take the movie novelization, right, the movie novelization actually fits into it, like because it hasn't. So all I'm proving with this scan here is right. I'm not saying that it's inherently canon just based off that. This is like a supporting evidence. This shows that it hasn't been retconned because it's still shown on there, right? And also the main argument is based off what I said prior. And the other argument is that it doesn't actually contradict the actual feat, because you brought up like one feat that might contradict it, but I rebutted that and proved that it doesn't inherently have to be a contradiction. It's just we don't see it from Sasuke's perspective.
No, I brought up several feats and they contradict the novel.
No, you only brought up that feat. What other feat was it?
Because the exact statements in the novel don't follow the same storyline. Straight after his transformation, you see Sasuke and his perspective of the Rinnegan gun.
Yeah, and I rebutted that.
Removed from the novel. And even though you see Sasuke and he's looking and all this kind of stuff, they chose specifically not to actually include
Look, it doesn't, just because they didn't show it, doesn't mean it didn't happen.
In the anime. they also chose to not include that in the movie version of
Okay,
the
just
novel.
because they didn't include doesn't make it non-canon. But just because we
Yeah,
didn't
but
see it from Sasuke's perspective doesn't mean it didn't
when
happen.
things that
I'm just
come
saying
out
that it's
after a
possible that it
novel
could have happened.
or things that have
Look-
yes, and it's also possible that things become retconned because
Okay, look-
it's happened in
No,
multiple
for
different
my
other
argument, right, all I need to prove is that it's possible at all, right? And if it's possible, right, and if it's and it can fit into the timeline, then it's not a contradiction.
but it's not possible because it didn't happen.
Look, it
Not
doesn't
in
need
the-
to be
in the
seen.
main
It doesn't just because it's not
novel.
seen. Just because it's not seen doesn't mean it didn't happen. And the Boruto movie novelization is like an extension, and it kind of talks about this more because we don't see it from Sasuke's perspective. In the actual novel, it states right that Sasuke saw the actual stream, right? But in the manga and anime, we don't see that.
In
And the
fan
reason we don't see it,
translation, we don't even know if that's from the official.
no, because you're the one bringing this point up. Do you have the kanji for it?
Do you have the kanji for
No,
it?
no, because look,
it's actually-
okay, I'll
you'd have
prove.
to
No, I'll prove
that
why
one.
you need it, right?
It was canon.
Because look, my original premise was right. My premise was, oh well, the actual like movie
But
novelization.
this is-
Okay, let me
that's
finish,
not
please,
my
please.
premise. That fan translation. This
Oh,
sounds
my
really dodgy.
Okay, look, and I'm gonna rebuttal this right
It's
now.
that simple.
So look, my premise was that the movie novelization would be canon because like it's on the official canon corporate timeline, right? And then you said, wait a minute, it's not canon because this one feat about him draining chakra, right? It doesn't actually happen. So you're the one claiming. You're the one using this feat as a contradiction. So
Okay,
you're
well,
making the
do want me
claim.
to
You need the
show you
kanji.
an example of how he actually drains planets. Do you want me to show you?
No,
a
you're the
scene
one who needs a kanji.
Specifically, that he no. I'll show you in the story how he does that, and I can prove that to you. But it's also related to our next debate. I can disprove.
Okay, so you've
everything
lost
you've
then.
Said. I can show
judges.
you how he does it, but it
Judges.
doesn't actually do it in the method that is explained in the novel, or the
Okay.
way that you're.
Okay, look.
explaining. He does it. In
Okay,
a
it doesn't
different
matter.
way
Okay, I'll explain why it
altogether.
doesn't matter.
And it's not by draining through streams
Okay,
of chakra. That is
judges,
not how he does
or
it.
whoever the judges, I want them to listen carefully, right?
No,
Okay.
do you want?
I'm talking to the
I've
judge right now.
established That point.
Okay.
You told me that I have to prove that he
Yeah,
doesn't
okay.
drain stars. So this is very
No,
relevant. So
no.
I'll bring it up now, so I don't have to do it in the main debate, anyways.
Or you
So
can
the
send that
point
whatever, but
is,
there's something I want
if,
to tell the
for
judge. Can you let me
example-
speak?
What?
Okay, I just want to tell the judge something, right? I'm trying to remember what I said.
Well,
All right,
that's
oh, yeah,
the
okay,
point,
yeah,
that's
I
the
remember.
reason. Well, anyways, here
Okay,
is
okay, I remembered. Right?
Shirenu
Oh, fine,
Sekai,
quickly
okay?
finish your thing.
That means, for people that don't understand, the unidentified planet. This is the planet that, yeah.
Judges.
But the point is that they eat the fruit from all these trees. Do you see that? And that's how they drain planets. They don't do it through this chakra stream that you're talking about. The narrative has changed, and you can see it. Oh, look, finally an adequate harvest.
Well,
And
actually,
it even states in the Boruto manga that
Those are
the
tweets-
way
okay.
that they no, don't cut me off. The
Okay.
way that they actually managed to drain planets is through gardening. And
Okay.
That's a direct statement. They actually state
Okay.
that.
this
and,
is
and that would suggest
okay, dude.
that it's not actually.
There's no point you
Momoshiki
continuing
who
'cause
does
you're
the
wrong.
Draining. It is the trees that do the draining of the planet. They absorb the energy from the planet and they convert it into a chakra fruit. That wouldn't scale.
Okay.
Momoshiki.
This is no.
If
This is a.
anything, this directly contradicts the story and the narrative that is in the novel.
It's funny you bring that
And
up,
this
right?
is confirmed by the movie,
Okay.
the anime,
No.
and the manga. So
Okay.
I'm going to bring out the other panel
Okay,
that I was.
it's
gonna
funny.
share.
It's funny you bring up
that
this
talks
up because this
about
is from the third
the fact
Boruto
that-
novel, right? So this actual scene is based off the novel that they adapted, right? But that's not even the main issue, right?
This
This is a completely different
from
issue.
the Boruto manga.
This is a completely different issue. This is him harvesting fruits, right? The feat I'm talking about, right?
And
Or the feat you brought up, right?
It's actually him devouring planets using the fruits plus the trees.
No,
But
yes,
it's
he's
not him
harvesting.
that
He's not.
devours them.
This is a
Once
completely
the
different
divine
feat.
tree is finished absorbing
Okay.
everything, it turns into a fruit.
Okay,
So I
easy
have
way to debunk
another
this.
Panel that further supports this. If you read the panel, it says it's the tree that devours
Oh
the
my
plant.
fuck. Okay, look,
planet,
dude.
And then he eats the fruit of the tree. And then it further states in the next panel that they are alien parasites. And
Okay, this is wrong.
They survive
Okay, dude.
to devour a planet. That's
Okay, it's my turn to speak right now. Okay, what's happening? This is a different feat.
To make it quicker.
Yeah.
Wait, to make it quicker, right? Y'all got like 5 more minutes and y'all can conclude.
Okay, let me speak now because he's spoken already. This is a completely different feat. He's talking about Momoshiki harvesting planets. The other feat is actually stated that he was draining chakra from beyond his
No, I'm
dimension.
not harvesting. I'm talking about absorb, and the panel says absorb. It doesn't say.
No, this is okay.
harvest.
Yeah, yes, it is. It says like harvest, right? And so how he harvests it, he
No,
uses the
not
shinju,
that
the
panel.
tree.
I'm talking
He uses
about
the tree to
one
make a
from
fruit.
the manga. It actually recorrects that statement by saying, once
okay,
the
look.
divine
Also, I want to go back to that.
tree is finished,
We need to finish this,
everything.
dude. We
That's
need to finish
the
this.
method he uses to
The guy's got 5
absorb
minutes.
Energy from
Okay,
planets.
okay. I want to talk to the judge, right?
So what you're
no,
suggesting
I want
is
to talk to the
completely
judge.
headcanon to
Judge,
the original
no,
story.
judge. So essentially, what's happening is, right? I brought up that the movie novelization was canon, right? And I showed it on the corporate timeline and stuff. He's claiming it is a contradiction, and then he uses this fan translation, right? He's the one using the actual fan translation to show a contradiction. So doesn't he need the raw to prove it? What? He's the one claiming it. Why? He's the one claiming the contradiction using that. Surely he's the one who needs a raw, right? Because it's a fan translation.
Well, in the beginning, didn't y'all what did y'all establish about fan translation?
He's the one saying that. He's the one saying that you need a raw because it's a fan translation. But it was his he's the one assuming the contradiction using that one.
You can't. It doesn't look like it's legitimate with your argument when you're basing your argument off of fan translation and you haven't.
I'm not basing it off that.
Where it's from.
Dude, you're the one using. I'm just claiming that the movie novelization is canon.
You're basing it off nothing then, because you haven't posted anything.
Yes, I posted the canon corporate timeline.
That's nothing to do with what I'm stating.
Yes, it is, because my premise is the original premise was, and you can quote me if you want, that the movie novelization was canon, not that certain fee. You're the one using this draining fee as a weird contradiction. But you can't even find the raw, and also I proved, and also even if you use that, I proved why it can still fit into the narrative. So I think I've done enough to win the debate.
All right. Well.
Okay. Do you want to leave it to the judges?
Happy. Do you think you did enough too?
No.
I literally wrote about everything you said. I used for all of the different scans and stuff, and he's the one claiming that it was from Sasuke's perspective. It's not.
He didn't share anything directly from the books that would suggest that every single statement was in fact not retcon. Because retcon, as we established in the beginning, if the story had changed, which I have proven it changed,
no, it didn't.
It wasn't a part of the novel.
I can tell you why it didn't change. He couldn't find the perspective from Sasuke.
He's in conclusion.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You never argued that point at all. You completely moved on, and I proved that it changed. Based on the panels and based on the story, they're completely different. They changed, and there was parts removed from the novel that were not included.
Okay, can I do my closing statement?
Now we know that it's actually in fact changed and it's been retconned because it wasn't in the manga, the anime, or the films.
Okay, am I allowed to use?
But it happened to be in a fan translation, so yeah.
Okay, can I use my can I do my closing statement then?
I thought that was yours before.
Oh no, it wasn't. I was just talking to the judge about stuff. But okay, here's my closing statement now. Okay, so my closing statement is, right, I said my premise was that the movie novelization is canon, right? And then I provided the official canon timelines, the old one and the new one, to show it wasn't retconned. He said, oh well, there's a contradiction, and then he brought up this whole feat about Momoshiki draining chakra from beyond his dimension, but he used a fan translation, so he doesn't even have the raw. He doesn't even have a raw to it, so we don't even know if it's valid, right? Number one. And even if we accept that, I proved why it actually fits into the narrative, and it's not a contradiction. Because the actual narrator in the novel states that Sasuke is draining chakra, right, from outside his dimension. But this is the narrator speaking, right? And it's saying that Sasuke sees this with his Rinnegan, meaning it's from his perspective. Now, in the actual anime and manga, right, when he's absorbing the actual chakra and stuff, right, it's not shown because it's not shown from his perspective. So all I need to prove, yeah, right, for my thing to function, right, is that it's possible for it to happen. If it's possible for it to happen, there's not a contradiction to it. Because his contradiction is based off it didn't happen. But if it could have happened, right, because it's not shown from Sasuke's perspective, then it actually works. And also, like I said, he doesn't have a role for it, so we don't even know if it exists. And also, then I also use the analogy of if something stayed in the data book, like a character can blow up a star, right? And there's no actual contradiction, right? So let's say in the data book, the actual statement would still be canon because it'll be written by whoever the author is. It doesn't matter if it's an outlier or a hyperbole. That's how I'm closing off.
All right, so let me just start off with this. This was really good for both. That both did good. So yeah, and we might need other people's thoughts on who won this too, because my thoughts are still conflicted. But I'll just say this. Keep it simple. Rhetorically, Bullet did good, right? To the beginning and the end. But rhetorically in general, I think Happy won rhetorically, because I'm not gonna lie to you, Bullet. He convinced. Happy was convincing. Like he made.
I don't agree with that.
Convincing me.
What, okay, could I ask what he convinced you on?
No. Wait. That's why you didn't let me finish. That's why you didn't let me finish. I never said that. No, I'm not. I said a happy one rhetorically, right? But if you would let me explain, man, I still think that Happy did really great on his argument. But just from your own first argument alone, I think that you won argumentatively because you were right.
Oh, okay.
You were right from the jump. That's why I think you won rhetorically because he dragged you away from your original argument, right?
Yeah, he dragged me away.
Bullet, you won your whole argument was better because you literally. That's why I gave him the retort point because you didn't have to go on the tangent. You didn't have to prove anything. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Which literally all you had to do was. You explained what a novel was. It was a novel.
Yeah, that was my premise. He tried to take me away from it.
Yeah, you said a novel is just an add-on to the manga.
Yeah.
And then unless it's something to be shown, it doesn't matter if the nigga can blow up like 5 dimensions. If it doesn't matter if it doesn't have to be shown. If it's shown there and it's directly not contradicted,
then
it's fine. What Happy did, he didn't really bring up contradictions at all.